in. Okay, they will archive everything. Okay, even your students submit 3 years or 5 years later, it still can be highlighted. Okay, so this is to prevent the copy and paste culture among the students. Okay, and then the second one is students' papers submitted to Turnitin since 1996. So whatever you as a lecturer or your students submit, everything will go to the Turnitin database for future matching. Okay, and the third one, make Turnitin very special, millions of publishers content. Okay, all the journal articles. Okay, the Crossref is the latest partnership that Turnitin has the largest scholarly comparison databases. Okay, for STM publishers, for example, like Elsevier, IEEE, Sage, Springer, Taylor and Francis, Wiley. Turnitin also has the content partners with the leading aggregators, for example, like Cengage, EBSCOhost, Emerald, Pearson, ProQuest. Okay, so these are the list of publishers that Tenin has all the content in the database, the online contents. Okay. Okay. So in order for you to use Tenin, there are 4 easy steps. Very simple. Okay, the first one time process only. Of course, you have to create your own user profile first. Okay, so once you got your own user profile, the role of lecturer will be create class and create assignment. Okay, so once you have created the class and created an assignment, you have to provide your students with the class ID and enrollment key. That's it. Okay, so that your students can actually enroll under your class and start submit paper. Okay, the role of lecturer will be create class and create assignment. The role of students to submit paper. Okay, but in order for students to submit paper, they have to enroll under your class. Okay, so in order for them to enroll under your class, they will need the class ID and class enrollment key. Okay, I will cover all the steps during the hands-on training. Okay. Okay, these are the list of our clients in Malaysia. When we start up on 2007, we only have 6 customers. Okay, the first two is Sunway and Monash University. They have to use Turnitin because of training program from UK. Okay, and then the other 4, the international school, Dalat, Mont Kiara, Kuala Lumpur, and International School of Penang. Okay, so when my colleague visited them and asked them, why they need Turnitin for kids? Okay, 6, 7, 8, or even 9 years old. So they told that the main intention of them use Turnitin is not to catch the students, but to groom the students from young. Okay, to educate the students from young. So when the students grow up to university level, they will know what to do. They will know how to write a paper instead just copy and paste blindly. Okay, that's their main objective. And you can use Turnitin from anywhere, anytime around the world, including through your smartphone and your tablet as well, as long as you have connection to the internet. And Turnitin does support 30 foreign languages, including Bahasa, Mandarin, Arabic. Okay, so if you have paper in Bahasa, you can try to submit. I'm sure there will be a detection. Okay. Okay, this is a link for guides and resources. Okay, so all the online guides and resources for the Turnitin admin, for the instructor, and for the students. Okay, I will share this link to Puan Haliza to forward to all of you. Okay, right. Any questions up until now? Ada soalan, ladies, gentlemen? Any questions?
No question.
Right. Okay, if no questions, okay, now we go to the hands-on training, a step-by-step training. Okay, right. Right, so the file that you see on my screen now is this is a training guide for you. Okay, there are 4 easy steps, very simple, very straightforward. Okay, so this is what we are going to cover today. Okay, so now we go to the browser, open the Turnitin website, turnitin.com. Okay, so this is the Turnitin homepage. Okay, so for those of you who already have Turnitin account, okay, so you just click login. Okay, on the top right here, login button, you just put in your email address, password, and then you just click login. Okay, for those of you who already have Turnitin account but you forgotten your password, okay, what you can do, you can reset back your password. Okay, so if you forgot your password, you just click here to reset back your password. Okay, so you just click here and then you just put in your email address, your last name, okay, and then you click next. Okay, and then you have to answer the secret questions. Okay, so if you forgot the answer for the secret questions, okay, so you just click forgot answer, then Turnitin will send a link to your email to reset back your password. Okay, if you can answer the secret questions, then you can straight away set the new password for your Turnitin login. Okay, so for those of you who already have Turnitin account but you cannot log in, you forgot your password, just reset back your password. For new users who don't have Turnitin account, okay, so you have to get your Turnitin account from the Turnitin admin. Okay, the main admin from UTM library or the sub admin for each faculties or each schools. Okay, so each schools, they will have a sub admin. Okay, so what you can do, you have to provide your first name, last name, and UTM email address to the admin or sub admin Turnitin. Okay, and then they will register an account for you. Okay, once they add you on the Turnitin account, okay, so you will receive the welcome email from Turnitin. So you just follow the step number 1 here, which is setting up new account. Okay, so you just follow all the steps to complete the registration for your account. Okay, all right. So for today's sessions, I believe most of you already have Turnitin account. So we just keep the step number 1 here. Okay, so just click login, put in your email address, password, and then you just click login. Okay, so once you log in, this page you will see. Okay, for example, my account, FE School of Mechanical Engineering. Okay, so if you from business or maybe School of Business, okay, so you can see your schools or your faculty's name here. Okay, and then at the top here, you can see the black bar. Okay, you can see your name will be appear here. Okay, and then here, instructor. So this is instructor account, lecturer account. Okay, so lecturer can become student, student can become instructor. Okay, so as a lecturer, please do not share your instructor account to your student. Okay, so if the students got the instructor account, they can manipulate their paper by themselves. Okay, so for lecturer, you will have instructor account, and then for the students, they will have their own students account. Okay, all right. All right, so now we go to step number 2 here, which is to create class. Okay, so we just skip step number 1. We go to the step number 2, which is to create class. Okay, as you can see in my account here, no classes have been added to this account. To add your first class, you either click here or you click on add class button here. Okay, so you click on add class. Okay, create a new class. Class settings. The first one, class type. Okay, class type, two types of classes. Okay, standard class and master class. Okay, master class, it doesn't mean that for your postgraduate students. Okay, you only need to use master class when you have a group of tutor under you. You have the teaching assistant under you. Okay, and then at the same time, you want to have the full access to each of your tutor classes, the teaching assistant classes. Okay, for normal submission, we use standard class. So for standard class, you will log into your own account and you will have access to your students only. Okay, you won't have access to any other people classes. Okay, all right. And then next, class name, that will be your subject name or subject code, or you can put semester, you can put year, it's up to you. Okay, for example, I put here MGM 3211 Marketing Management, SEM 1 2021. Okay, so you can put the subject name, subject code, semester, year, it's up to you. Okay, and then next, enrollment key. Okay, enrollment key is the key that you have to provide to your students in order for students to enroll under your class and start submit paper. Okay, maybe you can put the course MGM 311 as the enrollment key, or you can put something simple like password ABC 123. It's up to you. Okay. And then next, subject area and student level. Okay, so you choose your subject area and student level. Okay, so for this subject area and student level, it doesn't affect anything. It doesn't affect your class. It doesn't affect your assignments. Okay, this is for Turnitin record purpose only. Okay, but it's compulsory for you to choose the subject area and the student's level. And then next, the class end date. By default, the setting is 6 months. Okay, so anything longer or shorter than 6 months, okay, you can change accordingly. Okay, you can change accordingly. Okay, but it's recommended for lecturers to set the class end date according to the semester. Okay, because the class end date will affect the number of license, okay, that subscribed by UTM, by the library. Okay, so if you set the class too long, okay, maybe 2 years, 3 years, okay, but at the same time, your students only graduate another 1 year, okay, so as long as the class is still active, so the accounts still consider an active license, okay, active users. Okay, so for the class end date, it's recommended for you to set according to the semester. Okay, and then you can click submit. Okay, so I just created the class MGM 3211 here. So every time, okay, when you create a new class, okay, this page will pop up. Okay, so they will tell you that you have just created a new class. For example, I created MGM 3211 Marketing Management SEM 1 2021. Okay, with the class ID and the enrollment key. Okay, so the enrollment key is the key that you have set just now in your class setting. Okay, and the class ID is automatically generated from Turnitin system. Okay, so each of you will have a different class ID. Okay, so for example, if you create 5 classes, okay, so you will have 5 different class IDs, but you can stick with the same enrollment key. Okay, and then you just click continue. So I just created the class MGM 3211 Marketing Management SEM 1 2021 with the class ID to the left of my class name. Okay, So if you've forgotten your class ID, you can always refer to the left of your class name. Okay, so this is your class ID. Okay, if you've forgotten your enrollment key or you like to change your class and date, what you can do, you can click on edit button here. Okay, it brings you to the earlier page, the class settings. Okay, so you can see your enrollment key is here, or you can change your class and date. Okay, and then you can click submit. Okay, so you as a lecturer, you can create as many classes as you want. Okay, so you can create as many classes as you want. Okay, any questions for the class creations? Ada soalan, ladies, gentlemen?
You can understand. Thank you.
All right, great. Right. So if no questions, we just completed step number 2, which is to create class. Now we go to the step number 3 here, which is to create assignment. Okay. So in order for you to create assignment, you have to click on your class name. Okay, you have to go to your class. Okay, you click on the class name. Okay, so before you or your students can submit a paper, you first need to create an assignment. Okay, at least one assignment. So you click here at assignment button. Okay, you click on add assignment.
The baby is getting bigger. The baby is getting bigger.
Okay, and then as you can see here, new assignments. Okay, on the left, the first one assignment title, you can put, for example, like research paper or paper one or thesis. Okay, if you have the name of the assignment title, okay, you can put it here. Okay, so if you have the name of the assignment title, you can put it here. Okay, and then next, the point value. Okay, it's optional, you can leave it blank. Okay, point value is meant for grade mark for turning in online marking. Okay, for example, this assignment chapter 1 carry 20 marks. Okay, so you can put here 20 without the percentage. Or these assignments might carry 50 marks or 100 marks. Okay, so you can put the point value 50 or 100 without the percentage. Okay, and then next on the right, the start date and due date. By default, the setting is 1 week. Okay, basically 7 days. So anything longer or shorter than 1 week, you can change accordingly. Okay, you can change accordingly. And then next, the post date. Okay, post date is the date for you to post the marks for students to view if you are using the Turnitin grade mark. Okay, post date is the date for you to post the marks for students to view. Okay, if you're using Turnitin grade mark. Okay, for example, maybe you take 1 week or 2 weeks or a month to mark your students' paper. Okay, and then you are using the Turnitin grade mark, Turnitin online marking. Okay, so you can change the post date. You can extend the post date another 1 week or 2 weeks or even a month from the due date of assignment. Okay, so once you mark your students' paper using Turnitin grade mark on the post date, okay, on the post date, your students will be able to see the marks and all the comments given to your students' paper. Okay. All right, don't click submit first. You click on optional settings. Okay, this will be your assignment settings. Okay, this is very important. Okay, this is something that you need to pay attention. Okay, the first one, enter special instructions. You can leave it blank if you don't have any instruction. If you have, for example, please write between 100 to 200 words. Please submit before due date. Okay, you can put here. Okay, so if you don't have any instruction, you can leave it blank. Okay, so if you have an instruction, you can put it here. If you don't have an instruction, you can leave it blank. Okay, then next, allow submissions after the due date. By default, the setting is yes. If you choose no, okay, after the due date, your students cannot submit any paper. Okay, after the due date of assignments, your students cannot submit any paper. Okay, if you choose yes, after the due date of assignments, students can submit paper, but Turnitin will highlight the date with the red color. Okay, so if you choose yes, after the due date, students can still submit a paper, but Turnitin will highlight the date with the red color. Okay, if you choose no, after the due date, students cannot submit anything, any paper. Okay. Okay, next, similarity report. Okay, generate similarity reports for submissions. Okay, by default, the setting is yes. If you choose no, once you or your students submit a paper, no report will be generated. Okay, so no point of using Turnitin without the report. Okay. Next, generate similarity reports for student submission. Okay, so when you click here, you can see three options. Okay, the first options, immediately first report is final. Okay, so if you choose this option, meaning that your students can submit paper one time only. Okay, students can submit one time only. Students cannot redo and resubmit again. Okay, and then the paper that your students submit will be straight away captured into the database, which is on due date. Okay, and then the second option, immediately can override reports until due date. Okay, so before the due date, your students can submit as many paper as possible. Okay, for example, they submit the first paper, 50% similarity index. Okay, and then your students would like to redo and resubmit again. Okay, or you as a lecturer, you can monitor your students report from your account. Okay, you can see the similarity index from your account. Then you can engage with your students. You can call your students. Hello students, please see your Turnitin report. The similarity index is very high. Please redo, do something or whatsoever. Okay, so students can redo and resubmit again. Okay, so the second submission will override the first submission. Okay, the latest submissions that your students submit will override the previous submission. Okay, only the final copy of submissions will be captured, which is on due date. Okay, so before the due date, okay, all the paper that your students submit will not be captured into the database yet. Okay, only the final copy will be captured, which is on due date. So meaning that once your students submit a paper, Turnitin generate the report. Okay, and then if your students redo and resubmit again, okay, Turnitin override with the previous submission and generate the new report again and again and again until due date. Okay, third option, on due date. Before the due date, your students can submit as many paper as possible, but only one report will be generated, which is on due date. Okay, students can submit many times, but Turnitin only generate one report, which is on due date. Okay, any questions on this, ladies, gentlemen? Ada soalan?
Cik
Okay.
Mazlan,
Ya.
student untuk kalau kita ambil the second option tu kan, student akan automatic boleh tengok ke memang instructor kena inform student untuk tengok dia punya report?
Itu bergantung kepada setting yang pensyarah dah set kat sini lah, which is yang ni, allow students to see similarity report. Kalau pensyarah pilih yes, so bila student dah submit, dia boleh tengok report tu lah.
Terima kasih.
Okay, sama. Okay, ada soalan lain? Any other questions for this part?
Mas Dan,
Ya.
saya nak tanya, kalau one student dah submit kan, so dia akan simpan dalam database kan?
Ya,
So,
selepas due date.
okay. So kalau macam student work tu kita nak submit untuk publication, nanti Turnitin akan trace dia as a similarity juga ke macam mana?
Maksudnya nak submit kepada penerbit lah untuk publish.
Betul.
Okay. Kalau nak submit untuk publication, setiap penerbit dia ada guna tools, dia sister company dengan Turnitin lah. Dia under Turnitin tapi different tools yang kita panggil iAuthenticated. Okay, so kebanyakan publisher dia gunakan iAuthenticated untuk check similarity. Tapi database untuk iAuthenticated dia hanya check untuk internet content dan publishers content sahaja. Dia tak check against students punya submission.
Oh, okay.
So kalau dah capture dalam institution punya repository, so dia tak ada issue dia akan match dengan student daripada UTM ke UTHM ke, dia tak ada. Melainkan paper tu memang dah publish lah.
Oh, okay, faham.
Kalau paper dah publish, dia akan tag under publisher lah.
Okay. Terima kasih.
Okay, sama. Okay, ada soalan lagi untuk bahagian ni?
Encik Maslan nak tanya satu soalan.
Okay.
Okay, katakan student postgraduate, master ataupun PhD. So let's say duration of study is 3 years or 5 years contoh Okay, during first year dia submit paper dia as a proposal. So it's already captured in the system. So in the final stage dia nak hantar thesis kan, UTM perlu less than 20% similarity. Will the first paper cause a problem to the second thesis? Macam mana solve benda macam tu
Okay, untuk isu kes yang macam ni, maksudnya yang dia continuously untuk that particular papers kan?
Ya, betul.
Biasanya as a lecturer, kita boleh exclude. Makna kata kalau yang proposal tu memang student tu punya, as a lecturer kita boleh exclude sources tu, dia akan brings down the percentage.
Okay, faham. Terima kasih.
Or kita boleh request Turnitin admin daripada library ataupun daripada setiap school. Kita bagi paper ID yang proposal tu, minta Turnitin admin request pada Turnitin support untuk delete. So bila dia submit, yang final, dia tak akan match against the proposal yang dia submit before lah.
Assalamualaikum Encik.
Ya.
Okay, saya nak soalan hampir sama lah. Cuma perkara ni berlaku masa saya belajar dulu. Saya ada submit macam nak
Sekejap, dia tu tak clear lah, putus-putus.
Okay. Alright, macam ni Encik. Saya masa student dulu pernahlah buat paper and then submit kepada turn it in kawan punya dekat universiti lain kan, sebab dia masa tu belum familiar sangat lagi kan dengan turn it in tu. Tapi data maklumat tu masuk ke library universiti tersebut dan saya minta dia remove pun masih lagi ada kat situ. Bila saya guna information tu, dia ada similarity index yang datang daripada universiti tu. Saya nak macam mana tempat tu?
Yang tu doktor kena rujuk balik pada kawan yang doktor minta tolong tu, dapatkan paper ID. So paper ID tu dia kena bagi pada Turnitin admin universiti tu. So admin universiti tu yang akan request pada Turnitin support untuk remove doktor punya paper daripada database.
Okay.
Selagi mana tak remove daripada database, lagi tu dia akan ada dalam database lah.
Sebab dia dekat kawan saya punya paper tu dah tak ada dalam akaun dia, dah tak ada lagi. Maksudnya database.
Bila delete daripada akaun memang dah tak ada, kat akaun kita tak ada, tapi dalam database still ada. Yang tu memang hanya admin Turnitin saja yang boleh request kepada Turnitin support technical untuk remove kan paper.
Okay, faham. Terima
Okay,
kasih.
sama. Okay, tak apa, kita sambung dulu.
Salam.
Salam, ya. Ya.
Jelas tak suara saya?
Jelas, jelas.
Okay, saya Dr. Izian. Saya nak tanya,
Okay.
contohnya kalau kita dah hantar paper tu kan, satu paper tu untuk dicek dalam sistem Turnitin tu, berapa lama maksudnya rekod tu akan ada dalam sistem tu, maksudnya sampai bila-bila ke selagi support Turnitin tak remove ke dia ada tempoh selama berapa?
Dia tak ada tempoh, dia akan berada dalam pengkalan data selama-lamanya selagi mana kita tak request untuk remove daripada database.
Okay, jadi untuk kita nak request dia remove tu, maksudnya kita kena justify ke kenapa kita request nak remove? Contohnya kita bagi tahu yang ni adalah student check untuk proposal dia ke macam mana?
Itu bergantung pada lecturer lah. Kalau dia kalau nak remove, dia kena bagi paper ID. Paper ID tu kena bagi kepada Turnitin admin. So Turnitin admin yang akan request pada Turnitin support. So support dia tak akan justify apa-apa kenapa nak remove, tak ada. Dia tak akan justify apa-apa.
Okay, faham. Terima kasih.
Okay, sama.
Assalamualaikum Cik Mazlan.
Salam.
Saya tertanya lah, saya nak tanya, jika kalau kita hantar, kita submit paper, paper lah, student punya work dalam Turnitin, dan kita choose no repository, adakah dia masih disimpan dalam database?
Maksudnya macam mana? Yang standard
Kalau
paper
kita choose
repository?
submit no repository tu, adakah kita data pelajar tu, paperwork tu ada dalam database disimpan?
Dia tak disimpan dalam database. Apa yang ni nanti saya akan explain later lah.
Okay, terima kasih.
Okay, sama. Okay, let's continue first. Okay. Okay, next. Exclude bibliographic materials, yes or no? Okay, all the reference, the list of the reference, the appendix, you can exclude, yes or no? Exclude quoted materials, yes or no? The quotations, the open and close inverted commas. Okay, for this part, please bear in mind, some students are very smart. Okay. One of the way that they manipulate the submission is they put the quotation marks. Okay, for example, on the first paper, they put open inverted commas, and the last first paragraph they put open inverted commas, and the last paragraph they put close inverted commas. Okay, if you choose yes, exclude quoted materials, exclude the quotations, Turnitin cannot detect for the similarity. Okay, please bear in mind. Next, exclude small sources. Okay, if you choose yes, okay, so you can set the source exclusion either by word count or by percentage. Okay, for example, by percentage, I put here 5%. Okay, so in the report given by Turnitin, they will show you the matching of 5% and above only. 5% and below, like 1%, 2, 3, 4%, Turnitin won't show it to you. Okay, the matching 5% and below, Turnitin won't show it to you. Same thing goes to by word count. For example, I put here 10 words. Okay, so in the report given by Turnitin, they will show you the matching of 10 words and above only. Okay, 10 words and below. Okay, matching, Turnitin won't highlight to you. Okay, but for me, I prefer to see all. Even 1% I want to see, I choose no. Okay, it's up to you, whichever that you prefer. Okay, but actually for these three options, the bibliographic materials, quoted materials, and small sources, we can choose no first in the assignment setting, because on the students individual report itself, you can change it to yes. Okay, I will show it to you, our sample report after this. Okay. Okay, next, allow students to see similarity report. Okay, if you choose yes, once your students submit a paper, they can see the report, they can see how many percent the similarity index. If you choose no, once your students submit a paper, they cannot see the report, they cannot see the similarity index because they don't have access to the paper. So if you choose the second option here, okay, if you allow your students to redo and resubmit again and again and again, so you have to allow your students to see the report. Okay. Okay, next, translated matching. Okay, the translated matching, if your students do the translations, okay, for example, they translate from one language to another language and submit to Turnitin. Turnitin can detect. Okay, so when you click here, you can see the list of the languages that support for the translated matching. Okay. All right, so these are the list of the languages that support for the translated matching. Okay, so if your students do the translation and submit to Turnitin can detect for the translated matching. Okay, and then next, submit papers to. Okay, so when you click, you can see 4 options. Okay, the first one, standard paper repository. Okay, there are 4 options: standard paper repository, institution paper repository, students choice of repository, and no repository. For standard paper repository, whatever you as a lecturer or your student submit, everything will go to the Turnitin database for future matching. Okay, standard paper repository is the worldwide repository. Okay, institution paper repository, whatever you or your students submit, everything will be captured into within UTM repository only. Okay, for example, if junior copy senior's paper and submit, okay, it will be matching. Okay, but if someone from UTHM copy UTM student's paper, okay, and they submit to UTHM, UTHM cannot detect, okay, this content is from UTM student's paper. Okay, so for this one, within institution repository, within the institution only, for standard paper repository is worldwide. Okay, students choice of repository. For this option, students can choose whether they want to keep their paper into standard paper repository or institution paper repository. Okay, students can choose 2 options only, standard paper or institution paper. Okay, no repository, whatever you or your students submit, Turnitin will check for the similarity index, how many percent, but Turnitin won't keep your paper into the database. Okay, but in future, if someone take your paper and submit to Turnitin, consider original paper, original author. Okay, so normally for student submissions, okay, we always recommend to the lecturers to choose standard paper repository because most of the time students like to copy from their seniors. Senior paper copy from paper from another institutions or copy each other in the class. Okay, so this is where you can trace the student paper. Okay, or you as a lecturer, I believe that you have your own article for publications. Okay, you have your own paper to publish. Okay, so you can use Turnitin to check your own paper. Okay, so what you can do, you can create additional class. For example, you create personal class. Okay, and then you create one assignment, personal paper or personal article. So in the setting here, you can choose no repository. Okay, and then you can check your own paper, your own article as many times as you want before you submit to publisher. Okay, as I mentioned to you, most of the publishers are using another tool called Authenticate, the sister company of Turnitin. Okay, so both of them, the Turnitin and Authenticate, they are sharing the same database. So publishers will check your paper through Authenticate before they can publish your paper. Okay, so ini authenticate. Most of the publishers guna authenticate lah untuk check similarity. Okay. Alright. Next, search options, 3 types of databases, students paper, internet contents, and publishers content. Okay, it's good for you to check on everything. Okay, 3 types of databases. Okay, and then the rubric, this is for Turnitin grade mark, the online marking. I will cover the rubric sessions later on if we have time. And then the grammar checking. Okay, so you can check for grammar. For this grammar checking, they're using the e-rater technology. Okay, so if you choose yes, you can use the grammar checking. You can select the handbook. Okay, the highest level will be the advanced level. You can choose the dictionary, English, US, UK, or both dictionaries, and then you can choose the categories. Okay, this is for grammar checking. And then the last one, would you like to save these options as your defaults for future assignments? If you check on this, okay, if you check on this, your next assignment creation, you don't have to go through all the settings because this is your default setting. Okay, this will become your default setting, but you can edit your setting. Okay, and then you can click submit. Okay, so I just created the class MGM 3211 Marketing Management SEM 1 2021. Okay, so in this class, I created one assignment, chapter 1, with the start date, due date, and post date. Okay, so if you like to edit your assignment setting, what you can do, okay, you can click on more actions here. Okay, you can edit settings. Okay, or you can submit your own paper here, or you can delete this assignment, or you can click for view here. Okay, so from here you can submit your own paper because they have submit file here. Okay, I will show you how to submit paper after this because this is same as a student. Okay, right, any questions, ladies, gentlemen? Ada soalan for the assignment setting, assignment creation?
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Saya punya my interface tak sama lah. It's
Tak sama.
yes, I have the class summary, learning analyticals, edit, copy and delete. Dia tak ada yang view more action tu.
Tak ada. Yang tu mana Yang ni
Yes, it's become like this. Saya nak edit. So macam
maksudnya
mana?
doktor tak create lagi assignment dalam mana-mana kelas sebab yang ni kelas.
Tak, dah ada assignment lah.
Dah klik.
I have a lot of assignment and then
Okay.
okay, I need to go to the assignment and then change it
Yes, you need to go to
directly.
the class. You need to click on the class name and then you can see your
Setting.
assignment.
Okay,
Yes.
understood. Thank you.
Okay. Alright. Okay, any other questions, ladies, gentlemen? Okay, if no questions, I'm going to show you our sample account. Okay, so this is our sample account, University of Apex Knowledge. Okay, as you can see, these are the list of my class IDs and my class name. Okay. Okay, assume that I want to have a look on my class MGM 3211 Marketing Management SEM 1 2021. So I just click on the class name here. Okay, so in this class, I created 5 assignments, assignment 1, 2, 3, 4, and assignments 5. Okay, assume that I want to have a look on assignment 1. So I just click view. Okay, right, so these are the list of my students' name with the assignment title, the seniority index, the grade for grade mark turning in online marking, the paper ID, and the date of submission. Okay. So on the assignment setting, if you choose yes, if you allow your students to submit paper after the due date of assignment, and students submitted after the due date, Turnitin will highlight the date with the red color. Okay. So meaning that this particular student submitted after the due date, so you can deduct the marks for the late submission. Okay, for example. Okay. Each paper will have a very unique paper ID. Okay, you can see the paper ID here. Okay. The paper ID is very important because, as I mentioned, in order for you to remove any particular paper from Turnitin database, okay, you have to provide the paper ID to the Turnitin admin. Okay, so the main admin from UTM library or the sub admin from each schools. Okay, so you just provide the paper ID to the admin or sub admin. So the admin or sub admin will send an email to Turnitin support to request for paper deletion. Okay. Without the paper ID, Turnitin cannot delete any particular paper from Turnitin database. Okay. If you provide the title, assignment title, Turnitin cannot detect. For example, as you can see on my students, okay, these are my 3 students using the same assignment title, Gejala Plagiarisma. Okay, so Turnitin cannot detect, but you need to provide the paper ID. Only admin or sub-admin Turnitin UTM can email to Turnitin support to request for paper deletion. If you send directly to Turnitin support and request for paper deletion, Turnitin won't entertain you because you are not the Turnitin admin for the institution. Okay. Alright, assume that I want to have a look on my student, David Ong, Gejala Plagiarisma, 83%. So I just click here. This is sample paper in Bahasa. I just click here to see the report. Okay, so this is the report, the latest interface, feedback studio. You can see on the left the students' assignments, students' paper text here. And then on the right, you can see 2 different tabs with different colors. Okay, as mentioned, red color is for originality check and the blue color is for grade mark. Okay, I will cover for originality check first. Okay, so for the originality check, you can see 5 different tabs. Okay, last time you only can see 4 tabs, right, on the originality check. But early this year, Turnitin launched the new features for originality check. Okay, the new features for originality check, what we call the flags for review on the first tab here. Okay, flags for review. Okay, so what is flags for review? Okay, flags is if your students do any manipulation before they submit to Turnitin. Okay, Turnitin will detect as flags. Okay, for example, like replace characters. Okay, because some characters, okay, for the replace characters, some characters in different alphabets can look similar enough. Okay, so if the students replace the characters, Turnitin will detect as a flags. Or hidden text. For example, like hidden quotation marks, as I mentioned to you on the assignment setting just now. Okay, so if Turnitin notice something strange, Turnitin will flag it for you to review. Okay, so a flag is not necessarily an indicator of a problem. However, we recommend you focus your attention on the flags for further review. For example, like this paper, this student submission, okay, there are no flags detected for the submission. Okay, so no hidden text, no replace characters. Okay, I'm going to show you another sample. Turnitin demo gejala plagiarisma 0%. Okay, So this is our experiment, which we took this student's paper from David Ong, Gejala Plagiarisma, and we did manipulate, okay, and we submit as Turnitin demo, and we got 0%. Okay, so when I open the report here, okay, exactly the same paper as David, but this one got 0%. Okay, 0%. So when we go to the flags for review, you can see one flags here. Okay, one flags. When you click, you can see the name we highlights here, hidden text. Okay, hidden text attempts to throw off similarity detection. So when you click on the hidden text, you can see where the text your students put. For this case, what we did was on the each space, okay, we put small letter I, okay, with small letter I, and we change the font color with white. So you cannot see the small letter I on each space here. Okay. This is one of the way how actually students manipulate the submission. And this method, they are using the find and replace method on Microsoft Word. You can click find, you put space and replace with small I, and then you change the font color with white so you cannot see. Okay. So when I try to download the original submission, okay, you can download the original file. Okay, so this is the original file from the students. Okay, when you download, it looks very nice. Okay, but when I'm trying to highlight some and change the font color with all black, so you can see on each space, these students actually put small letter I and change the font color with white and submit to Turnitin and got 0% similarity. Okay, so this is one of the way how students actually manipulate the submission. Okay, they are using the method find and replace. This one, the put I replace with blank and change the font color. Change the font color with small size. Change the font color with white or no color. Okay, and then submit. Okay. Previously, Turnitin cannot detect, but now Turnitin launched the new features under the originality check, what we call the flags for review. Okay. All right. Okay, let's go back to the David's paper. Okay, next step. This is flags for review, and then the second tab here, the match overview. When you click, you can see the matching sources. Okay, so the similarity number 1, it comes from the source number 1 and website number 1. Okay. Okay. And then you can see on the similarity number 1, the whole paragraph is highlighted into red color, but some words like penciplakan atau penghasilan Turnitin won't highlight. Okay, so this will be the student original words. Okay, students original words. Okay, so when I click on the similarity number here, okay, utusan.com.my, and I click full source view here, then it will show you a side-by-side comparison. Okay, side-by-side comparison. As you can see from the original websites, utusan, menciplak. These students change it into penciplakan. Okay, dia tukar imbuhan. Menghasilkan semula atau. Okay, they change to atau penghasilan semula. They rephrase. Okay, so this is how Turnitin will do the detection. Okay. Okay, you can see on the similarity number 1, for example. Okay, for example, you can see this student put acknowledgement here, utusan online 2007, for example. Okay, so as I mentioned, Turnitin cannot detect for plagiarism. Turnitin only detect for similarity. Okay, contoh contents ni, these students actually copied from utusan. Okay, so walaupun dia put proper acknowledgement here utusan online, okay, as long as this content available in Turnitin database, Turnitin still highlight. Okay, it doesn't mean that when the students put acknowledgement, Turnitin won't highlight. No, Turnitin still detect. Okay. So you as lecturer, you can actually exclude the sources. For example, like similarity number 1, you can see here the similarity, but you can see these students put acknowledgement here, or these students put the reference on the appendix, for example. So no issue, no plagiarism, students not plagiarize. So you as a lecturer, you can exclude the sources. So what you can do, you can see on the sources number 1, you just click here to view match breakdown. You click here, and then you can click exclude sources button at the bottom here. You click, and then you tick the sources, and then you click exclude. Okay, so once the source excluded, you can see the similarity index from 83% become 49%, and Turnitin won't highlight the contents. Okay, same case with one of the doctor just now asking the proposal submitted and then the final, right? So if you find out that the matching is from the proposal submitted before, you can exclude to brings down the percentage. Okay, any question? Ada soalan?
Sorry, can you repeat that? How you exclude that?
Okay. Okay. Let's go to the here. Okay, for example, if you can see here the similarity, and you can see these students copied, but these students put proper acknowledgement, or they put on the reference, for example, no issue, no plagiarism, not plagiarized. You can exclude the sources here. You just click here to view match breakdown. You click, and then you can see exclude sources button here. Okay, at the bottom, you click, you choose the sources, and then you click exclude. So once the sources excluded, it brings down the percentage, and Turnitin won't highlight the contents. Okay. Ada soalan? Okay, another sample. I want to show you.
Maaf cik, cuba tanya.
Aha.
Cik, saya sebenarnya saya masuk terlambat tadi cik. Adakah dia akan disediakan manual untuk kami refer nanti cik yang ini?
Kita akan bagi training guide yang ni lah. Tapi saya rasa untuk sesi ni library ada record.
Alright.
So nanti mungkin library akan share the recorded session lah to all of the participants today.
Terima kasih cik, minta maaf ya.
Sesi di record, tak apa, tak ada masalah. Okay, another sample I want to show you. This student's paper, Mr. Ko Guan Kiat, 25%. Okay, for this one, you can see on the sources number 3, 5% match with students' paper from MMU. Or sources number 4, 2% match with students' paper from UITM. Okay. So when you click, you cannot see the paper from that particular institution. You cannot see the student's paper. But what you can do, you can send a request to view this paper. Okay. So you can send a request to view this paper. So the request will be sent to the original instructor from MMU or UITM. Okay. The original instructor, whether to allow you to view the paper or not. Okay. If they allow you to view the paper, the whole document will be sent to your email. Okay. If they don't allow you to view the paper, you will receive nothing. Okay. Same thing if someone from another institution requests to view students' paper from UTM. So the request will be sent to you whether you allow them to view the paper or not. Okay. So this is to protect the student intellectual property. Okay. We protect the students' paper. Okay. Alright. Ada soalan untuk originality check? Any question? The matching sources? Okay, next. Tab number 3. Okay, all sources. Okay, so from here, actually you can exclude the sources. Okay, when you click on the tab number 3, you can see the all sources. Okay, so from here you can exclude any sources that you would like to exclude. You can click exclude sources button, pick the sources that you like to exclude, and then you click exclude. Okay, and then next step number 4, the filters and settings. Okay, so from here you can choose yes or no, tick or untick for the quoted materials, bibliography materials, and the small sources. Okay, by word count or by percentage. Okay, and then the last step, excluded sources. Okay, when you click, you can see the list of the sources that you already exclude. Okay, you can see the list of the excluded sources here. Okay, just in case if you like to include it back, you can tick any sources that you like to include, and then you can click restore. Okay.
Cik Mazlan,
Yeah.
nak tanya kalau macam kita dah exclude bibliografi tu kan. Lepas tu bila kita pergi dekat dia punya report yang awal tu, dia ada bagi warning suruh include balik. Itu ada effect ke tak ada effect?
Warning suruh include. Dia tak ada effect lah. Cuma dia just remind je lah.
Maksudnya kalau kita nak guna turn ini, kita kena includekan sekali dengan report bibliografi tu ke macam mana?
Dia terpulang pada pesyarah. Ya, okey. Yang untuk bibliografi ni, okey, dia ini yang list of the reference yang biasa kita letak kat bawah tu. Maksudnya kalau kita include, so yang list of reference tu dia akan dikira sekali sebagai similarity lah.
Oh, okay, so kalau yang report nanti bila dekat title yang dekat page yang sebelum ni, tu tadi effect lah. Dia just ada bagi warning macam dalam bentuk grey ada.
Ya, betul.
Okay, okay. Terima kasih.
Okay, ada soalan? To originality check. Okay, if no questions, we go to the bottom button here, the gray button. The two gray button. The first one is the download button, and the second one is the submission information button. Okay, submission information button is the submission details. Okay, when you click, you can see the student ID, the class name, class ID, submission ID, date, submission count, how many times your students resubmit. Okay, so all the submission details will be here on the submission information. Okay, and then for the download, when you click, you can see 3 types of download. Okay, current view, digital receipt, and originally submitted file. Okay, originally submitted file is the original file that your students submit to Turnitin. Okay, for example, like this student submit using Microsoft Word. Okay, so you can download the original file in Microsoft Word. Okay, macam dulu zaman saya belajar, bila kita submit assignment, so lecturer pun request untuk kita submit soft copy. Okay, so then we have to burn into the CDs or we save in the diskette and submit to the lecturers, the soft copy. But now with Turnitin, you don't have to request the soft copy from your students because you can download the original file from your account. Okay, so you can click download originally submitted file, you can download the file. So if you're students using Microsoft Word or Excel, PowerPoint or PDF, you can download the original file. Okay. Okay, and then the second one, digital receipt. Okay, digital receipt is the submission information in PDF format. Okay, so you and your students can download the digital receipt or every time when your students submit paper. Okay, so students will receive the digital receipt on the email, okay, in PDF. Okay, so you and your students can download the digital receipt, the submission information in PDF. Okay, and then the downloads current view. So this is for Turnitin report. Okay, for Turnitin report, you just click download current view. So lecturer, students can download the report. Okay, in PDF format. Okay, so the report in PDF format. Okay, so this is the sample report in PDF. The title, the author name, the student's name, okay, and then the submission date, ID, all the details. And then at the top will be all the similarities, okay, with the similarity number. And then at the bottom will be the matching sources, okay, the list of the matching sources. Okay, lecturer, students can download, can print the report. Okay. Ada soalan? Any questions, ladies, gentlemen? Okay, if no question, kalau tak ada soalan, kita pergi kepada students part. Okay, how students register an account, how students enroll in your class, and how students submit paper. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is the training guide for the students. Okay, there are 4 easy steps. Okay. I will share these training guides to Puan Haliza from library to forward to all of you. Okay, the training guide for the students, there are 4 easy steps, very simple. Okay. All right. So for new users of Turnitin for the students, okay, for new users, okay, for those students who don't have Turnitin account, what they can do, okay, first, students have to get the class details from the lecturers. Okay, what is the class details? The class ID and class enrollment key. Okay, so if students don't have account, okay, they can create their own account. So what students can do to open the browser, open the Turnitin website, turnitin.com, and then get the class details from the lecturers, okay, class details from you, and then they have to click on create account here at the top right, create account. Okay, click on create account button here, And then they can see create a user profile. Then they can see 3 types of profile: students, teaching assistant, and instructor. Okay, so for students, they have to click on student. Okay, so create a new student's profile, class ID information, class ID, and class enrollment key. Okay, so please make sure you provide your students with the right class ID and class enrollment key. Okay, without any of this, okay, students cannot enroll under your class. Then students cannot submit papers. Okay, so please make sure you provide your students with the class ID and enrollment key. Okay, and then the user information, just put in the first name, last name, email address, and confirm email address. Okay, all right, so for students, okay, students must, for email address, students must use the official UTM email address. Okay, UTM email address. Okay, put in the first name, last name, email address. For UTM official email address for students. Okay, I believe most of the students, they have their own official UTM email. Okay, so students must use the official UTM email. Okay, if the students use the personal email, you can drop or you can remove the students. Okay, it's compulsory for students to use the UTM email. Okay, requirements by the library. Okay, this is to monitor the number of license. Okay, to monitor the number of license. Okay, for example, okay, and the email address, confirm email address, and then the password, that will be the personal login password. Okay, and the password must be at least 1 alphabet and 1 numerical values, minimum 8 characters. Okay, put in the password and confirm password. And then the secret questions, choose the secret questions and put in the questions answer. Okay, the purpose of secret questions is if in future, if they've forgotten the password, and then if they would like to reset back the password, they have to answer the secret question. And then at the bottom, they can see the user agreement, Turnitin, and user license agreement. They can go through the agreement if they have time. Okay, and then tick I'm not a robot. Then click I agree, create profile. Okay, so once your students registered, this page they will see University Technology Malaysia FE School of Mechanical Engineering. They can see the institution and the faculties or schools name here. Okay, and then they can see the class ID, class name, and the lecturer's name here. Okay, and then at the bottom here, they can see the black bar. They can see their name will be appear here, and then they can see here student. So this is student account. Okay, all right. So this is for new users. Okay, for those students who don't have account, they want to register for the account. Okay, what if the existing students, for example, like these students, Muhammad Akmal, already have an account, already enrolled in my class, but at the same time, he wants to enroll in another lecturer classes. So what he can do? Okay, if the students trying to register again with the same email, they cannot register because the email address that they use already associated with Turnitin account. Okay, they cannot register anymore. So if your students forgot the password, just reset back the password. Okay, and then just log in to the account and click on the second tab here, enroll in a class. Okay, click enroll in a class. Please make sure you provide your students with the class ID and class enrollment key. So students just put in the class ID, class enrollment key, and then click submit. Okay, to enroll under lecturer classes. Okay, once they click submit, they can see the class ID, class name, and lecturer name here. Okay. All right. So in order for students to submit paper, they have to click on the class name. Okay, click on the class name here. And then students can see the class homepage, the assignment inbox. They can see the assignment title, the info. Okay, the info here. If your students point to the info here, they can see the instruction that you've given to your students. Okay, so if you have any instruction, students can see here. Students can see start date, due date, and post date. Okay, so for students, okay, students only have submit or resubmit button only. Okay, it depends on your assignment setting. Okay, if you allow your students to do resubmission, they can see the resubmit button. When they submit, they can see the resubmit button. If students can submit one time only, they can submit one time only. Okay, so students have to click on submit button here to submit the paper. So for lecturer and students, you can submit paper either by cut and paste upload or by single file upload. Okay, for cut and paste, put in submission title, cut, paste it here, and then click upload. Okay, for single file upload, okay, put in the submission title. The requirements for single file upload, the file must be less than 100 megabyte or 800 pages. Okay, less than 100 MB or less than 800 pages. And the file types allowed: Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Word Perfect, PDF, HTML, as long as it is text document, editable documents. Okay, if your students scan the hard copy, okay, they scan the hard copy, it becomes image file, even though in PDF format. When they submit to Turnitin, Turnitin cannot detect for similarity. Okay, PDF protected with password, also Turnitin cannot detect for similarity. Okay, so if your students using Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, they save as PDF, okay, that one Turnitin can detect. Okay, so if you find out that your student submissions 0%, okay, so something is not right. Okay, you have to check, is either your assignment setting, is it correct or not, or you have to check the submission format from the students, or maybe students did some manipulation before they submit. Okay, because it's impossible for students to get 0%. Okay. Okay, so you and your students can choose the file either from this computer, Dropbox, or Google Drive. For example, I choose from this computer. Okay, and then click upload. Okay, click upload. Okay, so once the paper uploaded, okay, you can preview the paper here. Okay, students can preview the paper here. And then on the left, they can see the submission details, the author name, assignment title, submission title, file name, size, page count, word count, character count. Okay, so once students confirm to submit this paper, just click on confirm button here. Okay, so once the submission is completed, you can see the submission date here, date and time, and the submission ID. Submission ID is the paper ID. So the digital receipt will send to the email to keep track the paper ID. Okay, and then you or your students can click return to assignment list. So students can do resubmission again and again and again. It depends on your assignment setting. So if you allow your students to see the report, they can see the percentage here. Okay, so in order for students to see the report, they have to click here to see the report. Okay, students have to click to see the report. So lecturer and students will have the same view. Okay, same view, but students don't have exclude button. Okay, so if students have, they will exclude everything to reduce the percentage. So if students have the access to the instructor account, they can manipulate their paper by themselves. Okay, so please do not share your instructor account to your students. Okay, so as a lecturer, you will have your instructor account, and then students will have their own students account. Okay, what you can do, you just provide your students with the class ID and class enrollment key. Okay, provide the training guide as well. Okay, let students register, let students enroll in your class, and let students submit their paper by themselves. Okay, so you as a lecturer, you can monitor your students' report from your account. Okay, any questions, ladies, gentlemen? Ada soalan? Okay, for lecturer interface, you can exclude the sources. For students, they cannot. Students cannot. Lecturer can. Okay, 100% because during the training, I keep submitting the same paper again and again and again and put into standard paper repository, so it become 100%. As you can see from the list here, you can see so many institution name here because I keep submitting. Okay. Ada soalan, ladies, gentlemen? Ada. Okay.
Excuse me, okay, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Saya nak tanya, how about like thesis submission? Student kan kita nak check before he or she want to submit to the school ke kan? Is it we will do the same thing lah, we create kind of assignment macam tu ke macam mana?
Ya, betul. Kena create assignment lah. Kena create class, create assignment. Provide students with the class ID and class enrollment key, and then let student enroll, then student boleh submit by themselves lah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Ladies, gentlemen, do you need me to cover the grade mark session? Okay, we have another half an hour.
Cik Mazlan,
Ya.
nak tanya dari segi sepatutnya berapa persen yang sesuai macam contohnya work dengan percentage tu kan?
Acceptable percentage.
Acceptable tu yang 10 dengan 5 tu kan?
Maksudnya macam mana tu?
Contohnya macam kita hantar paper ke atau sebab dia boleh manipulate lah, maksudnya kita boleh kalau bila dia besar sangat kita kecilkan apa semua kan, tapi dia ada value yang sama tu UTM tetapkan ke ataupun
maksudnya acceptable percentage lah.
Okay,
Okay, untuk acceptable percentage tu dia bergantung kepada universiti lah sebenarnya. Dia bergantung kepada universiti ataupun bergantung kepada fakulti. Kalau universiti ataupun fakulti ada tetapkan berapa, contoh 20% ataupun 30%, just follow lah.
Bukan percentage tu yang
Okay.
dia ada 20% ataupun 25% yang acceptable tu. Cuma value yang kat dalam tu yang kita tetapkan sama ada words tu kan. Ada setengahnya dia buat words 10 word. Ada yang buat 5% macam yang Cik buat tadi tu kan. Cik buat tadi.
Oh, dia filter setting tu Okay.
Dia ada value dia sendiri ke? Sebab bila kita besarkan sangat atau kecilkan sangat, dia akan memberi efek pada percentage.
Ini pun bergantung lah kalau macam dulu MMU dulu dia ada set. Maksudnya dia ada requirement. Maksudnya lecturer yang create assignment dia kena follow. Berapa yang percentage yang dia boleh letak, berapa words dia boleh letak, dia ada requirement daripada IPS, daripada MMU lah. Yang ni pun dia bergantung kepada universiti. Kalau universiti ada set, berapa kena letak percentage words, mungkin kita kena follow. Kalau compulsory kita kena follow lah. Kalau tak, bergantung pada pesyarah. Tapi normally untuk percentage lah, normally kita letak 1% lah. 1 or 2% lah.
1 or 2.
1 or 2% lah. Sebab
10.
Sebab biasanya student punya thesis ni, sebab yang ni kan saya punya demo, so kita tengok percentage memang dia punya similarity memang banyak lah, lebih daripada 10% untuk setiap sources. Tapi untuk student thesis ni biasanya dia punya matching tu 1 to 2% je. So kalau rasa memang tak ada isu untuk 1-2% tu, kita boleh filter by 2% matching. Tapi kadang-kadang yelah, walaupun 1-2% kita nampak kecil sebenarnya, tapi sebenarnya 1-2% yang dia copy tu dia tak acknowledge. So consider serious issue lah, consider plagiarism. Sebab dia copy, even 1% dia copy, tapi dia tak acknowledge yang tu dia copy daripada mana. Contohlah. So consider serious lah. Sebab tu saya kata dia bergantung kepada pesyarah.
Okay, baik. Terima kasih.
Sama. Ada soalan lain? Ya.
Saya nak tanya yang pasal flag tu. Flag tu kiranya Turnitin ni dia memang tak nyatakan ke apa yang fishy tentang submission student tu? Dia memang lecturer kena download and
tak dia okay. Kalau dulu memang tak ada features yang ni. Sekejap saya tak balik. Sekejap Macam yang saya katakan tadi, okay, untuk student punya report, okay, makna kata, kalau kita tengok student punya report ni 0%, so something is not right. Okay, dia sama ada student to manipulate ataupun assignment setting dari pesyarah tu ada some issues. Mungkin dia set, contoh macam filters and setting. Okay, filter and setting dia set by percentage 10% contoh. Okay. So untuk student thesis ni biasanya dia punya matching sources, dia punya match overview tak lebih daripada 10%. Bila kita tak 10% filters tu, so dia akan jadi kosong lah. Okay, tu salah satu contoh. Ataupun yang macam ni, students ni dia manipulate. Dia letak hidden quotation marks ke, dia replace characters ke. Kalau sebelum ni, Turnitin memang tak boleh detect. Tapi yang saya download tadi tu salah satu cara macam mana kita nak cuba identify apa sebenarnya yang students ni manipulate lah sebenarnya. Kalau macam yang student dia guna Word tapi dia screenshot, dia letak dalam Word. Okay, yang tu pun Turnitin tak boleh detect. So similarity akan jadi kosong. So itu antara cara-cara macam mana student manipulate. So macam saya kata, tak mungkin student akan dapat 0%. Sebab even common words pun Turnitin still akan detect. Okay, mungkin yang common words Turnitin boleh detect. Tapi start awal tahun ni Turnitin dia launch yang features baru tu, yang saya kata flags for review lah. So maksudnya daripada sini, okay, kalau contoh macam ni, kalau dulu 0% saya tak boleh tahu yang student ni manipulate, sebenarnya dia letak replace characters ataupun dia letak macam yang saya tunjuk tadi lah. Tapi dengan flags ni, kita tak perlu download dah, kita dah tahu dah ada flags kat sini. Bila kita klik, kita tengok hidden text, kita dah tahu dah apa student tu letak sebenarnya dekat untuk dia manipulate dia punya submission. Kalau sebelum ni,
kalau kita tak download pun maksudnya kita tahulah ada hidden something lah dekat
ya betul.
student tu.
Untuk flags ni lah. Sebab sebelum ni tak ada. Dia baru launch features baru ni tahun ni.
Yang ni macam kena ada semua format pun dia boleh detect ke atau mungkin Word punya format saja ke atau macam mana?
Semua format boleh. As long as dia ada manipulation, kalau dia convert kepada PDF, kan daripada Word, dia buat dalam Word, lepas tu dia convert PDF and submit, pun still boleh detect. Cuma kalau yang macam saya kata tadi lah, kalau dia screenshot ataupun dia scan hard copy, tu memang tak boleh detect lah. So maksudnya kalau macam tu, kita boleh, maksudnya kita nak tengok, kita boleh download yang original, kita boleh tengok sama ada yang tu memang kalau PDF yang editable ke, ataupun kalau Word tu kita boleh nampak ada screenshot ke, yang tu kita minta student resubmit balik dengan format yang betul lah untuk dapatkan similarity.
Okey, faham. Terima kasih.
Okay. Ada soalan lain?
Assalamualaikum. Saya ada yang macam yang lama-lama punya, and then adalah seorang student ni dia kosong dia punya name similarity, and then bila saya check dia submit dalam TXT. TXT dia tak boleh detect ke?
TXT boleh rasanya.
And then dia macam jadi kosong-kosong lah, macam tak ada lah. Sebab kalau macam selalunya student kan dia submit guna dokumen ke, doc ke, ataupun PDF kan, ni dia submit guna TXT.
TXT tu notepad kan?
Yeah, betul. Notepad, yes, notepad. And then
tak apa.
bila dia submit TXT, macam most of the student yang submit TXT tu dia macam kosong, macam tu lah.
Oh, kosong
Kosong ataupun 1% macam tu, kalau dia jumpa 1%. Kenapa?
Okay, tak apa. Untuk format notepad ni nanti saya check sebab saya tengok dalam ni tak ada pula format notepad kan, TXT tu. Tak apa, yang tu format tu nanti saya check dengan Turnitin. Maksudnya dia boleh detect ke tak boleh. Tapi yang kalau nak kata kosong tu, macam saya katalah, kalau betul dia guna format tu, kan, maksudnya doktor boleh try download yang original format. Boleh tengok macam mana. Sebab, yelah, ataupun doktor boleh tengok doktor punya assignment setting tu macam mana lah. Contoh yang saya tunjuk, sebab ada setengah lecturer, dia tersilap. Contoh macam paper ni bila dekat assignment setting tu, kadang-kadang dia letak kat sini kan, by percentage mungkin 30. So bila student submit, dia memang 0% lah, tak ada matching. Kalau yang 0% ni, kita kena check sama ada format documents tu betul tak betul, ataupun sama ada kita punya assignment setting tu macam mana. Maksudnya kalau yang kat sini kita set by percentage letak 30, so kita kena kalau boleh tukar balik kepada kosong ataupun setakat 1-2% je lah. Baru kita boleh nampak ada matching kat situ. Sebab kalau kita tak terlalu tinggi, memang tak boleh nampak percentage matching lah. Tapi untuk format TXT tu nanti saya double check dengan Turnitin lah. Nanti saya maklumkan dekat Puan Haliza untuk maklumkan kat doktor.
Okay. Terima kasih.
Sama.
Assalamualaikum Encik Mazlan.
Salam.
Saya belum ada lagi lah akaun Instructor untuk Turnitin.
Okay.
Jadi saya cuba nak create yang tempat login kan. Dia minta macam yang Cik katakan sebelum ni kena emailkan kepada instructor universiti dulu kan.
Admin Turnitin.
Yang kalau yang Turnitin lead at utm.my ni kan.
Ya betul. Tu situ master admin untuk Turnitin UTM lah.
Okey, jadi bila email kat sini
Saya Puan Aliza.
nanti bila emailkan kat sini nanti login account dan password diberikan oleh mereka kan? Ataupun
Tak. Okey, bila admin dah register kan, dia masukkan first name, last name, email, nanti doktor akan dapat welcome email daripada Turnitin.
Okey.
So daripada welcome email tu just follow je lah apa yang dia nak nanti untuk completekan registration tu, then baru boleh ni lah. Kalau dulu kita memang boleh create, as a lecturer boleh create. Bila kita klik kat Instructor account ni, kita kena masukkan account ID dengan join key. Tapi start tahun 2017 atau 18 tak silap saya, Turnitin dah disable lah function instructor ni. So maksudnya bila kita klik, kita kena contact admin. Sebab apa? Sebab banyak sangat berlaku penyalahgunaan account. Yang mana kalau kita boleh nampak sekarang, kita boleh nampak kat Lazada, Shopee ada orang jual servis Turnitin. Yang tu memang illegal. Yang tu maksudnya dia gunakan, dia menyalahgunakan akaun Turnitin dan dia jual servis dekat Shopee, Lazada, Facebook, yang tu lah.
Okey, saya tunggu email daripada person in charge lah.
So bila nanti admin dah add kan, nanti doktor akan dapat welcome email daripada Turnitin lah. Just follow je apa yang ada dalam email tu, nanti boleh dapat akaun.
Okey, baik. Terima kasih.
Sama. Ada soalan lain?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Maslon, for your well explanation.
Yeah, okay, no
I
problem.
wanted to know if instructor delete the assignment by the end of the semester or after the deadline, passed. That means automatically the data removed from library, or still needs to send email of the request to the library and remove the data.
Okay, you still need to request admin from library to request from Turnitin support to remove. Okay, you have to provide the paper ID here. Okay, if you delete from here, right, from your account, for example, you tick and then you delete. Okay, it just disappear from your account, not from Turnitin database. Once you delete from here, you cannot trace your paper ID. Okay. So in order for you to remove, you have to provide the paper ID. You get the paper ID and you give the paper ID to the Turnitin admin from library. Okay. And then library will request Turnitin support to remove your paper from Turnitin database. But make sure you give the right paper ID lah before you request to
Of course, after deleting the assignment, that ID also will be removed. Am I right?
No. Okay, once it's removed from the database, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you submit again, okay, it won't match against the previous submission that you submit.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I got it.
Okay. Any other question? Yeah.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
I just want to know how to detect the flag, because I realized that one of my students, when I run the Turnitin, there is a flag, and then I want to check the character. I mean, at what page that the student actually using that to avoid from the detection for by the Turnitin.
Okay, actually, if you can see the flags, right? Look in our demo. Okay, actually if Turnitin detect the flags. Okay, for example, this paper, Turnitin detect one flags. Okay, right, just now I show it to you. Okay, so when you click, you can see what flags that Turnitin detected. Is it hidden text or replace characters? Okay, for example, for this paper, okay, Turnitin detected the flags for hidden text. Okay, so when you click hidden text, you can see where the students put the hidden text. Okay, when you click, you can see the hidden text. For this paper, each space, these students put small letter I with small font size and change the font color. Okay, so there are 381 characters. Means they have 381 I letter for the whole paper. So you can see if Turnitin detect any flags, it is either hidden text or replace characters. When you click, you can see. Okay. Am I answering your question?
Okay, yeah. But in my case, I cannot see the hidden text.
Is it?
That's why, yeah.
But the Turnitin detects the flags here.
Integrity inside to hidden text, 148 suspect characters on one page. So
You can see the flags here.
But the ones that you show me, I can see. But the ones that I have for my student, I cannot see. So
Is
that's
it?
why.
Maybe okay. Maybe later you open the file. This one you open, and then you screenshot and send to me, and then I check for you.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Puan Haliza, ada soalan dekat chat box ke yang belum dijawab?
Okay, ada satu. Can you share a bit on how to change the Turnitin setting to enable it as authenticate? Daripada Dr. Rozita.
Okay, change the Turnitin setting to enable it as authenticate. Okay, so this one is for your own paper checking, right, Doctor?
Yes.
Okay.
Betul-betul. Our own checking.
Okay, untuk own checking, you can, as mentioned, we can create. Okay, for example, you can create additional class. Sorry. Okay, you can create additional class. For example, you create personal class. Okay, so in order for you to create assignment, you have to create class first. Okay, you create personal class. Okay, just put anything. Okay, and then you create one assignment, personal paper or personal article in this class. Okay, add assignment. Okay. Sorry, my connection quite slow. Okay. Create assignment. So for the assignment title, maybe you can put personal paper, for example. Okay. So in the assignment setting, make sure you choose no repository here. Okay, so as I mentioned for authenticate, okay, authenticate, they only check. Actually, for authenticate, there are also 3 types of databases, but they only have the student's paper, internet, the internet content and publisher's content, and also the publishers. For those the corporates, for example, like in Malaysia, like Inspan, Myros, they are using Authenticate. The Authenticate is for publishers and corporates. Okay, so only databases for that particular corporates, company or publishers. Okay, so if you are using Turnitin to check your own article for publication, okay, you choose the repository and you untick the student's paper. Okay, and then you submit, and then you can check your own paper. Okay, so when you check, so the results more or less are same with the authenticate checking. Okay, Doktor?
Alright. Itu saja
Okay.
setting yang kita kena uncheck.
Ya betul. So maksudnya kalau macam doktor ada collaboration dengan student untuk submission kepada publisher kan. Tapi student tu dia dah submit dekat UTM. So tak ada issue lah. Bila doktor check, doktor submit tapi doktor uncheck yang student punya submission, walaupun content tu ada dalam dalam database, dia tak akan match sebab kita dah uncheck. So dia hanya akan check untuk internet content dengan publishers content saja.
Internet content tu yang current dan archive.
Betul. Semua yang web page yang ada dalam internet, dalam Google tu semualah.
Okay, terima kasih.
Okay. Okay, ada soalan? Any other questions, ladies, gentlemen? Another 1 minute.
Excuse me, Mr. Mazlan. I had one question only regarding the deletion of a paper or a report from my profile.
Okay.
You just say that if I delete the report, I still, the authenticate or others, they can still detect it as,
Yes, because if you delete from your account, it just disappear from your account, not from Turnitin database.
Okay, what if I delete and then when I ask to remove from the database because it's already deleted, then how can I remove the paper?
So if you like to delete, you have to provide the paper ID. Okay, so once you delete from your account, you cannot trace the paper ID. So what you can do, you can ask Turnitin admin from library. Okay, if you have the class ID, you give the class ID to the admin, so admin will request Turnitin support to restore back your class and all submissions in the class. Okay, if you forgotten the class ID or you don't know the paper ID, you don't know the class ID, you give your email that you log in for Turnitin to Turnitin admin. So admin will request Turnitin support to restore all your classes and assignments in your account. Once it's restored, then you can check which paper or which submission that you like to remove. You get the paper ID, then you give the paper ID to Turnitin admin, then admin will request to support for delete.
Which means if I submit a paper or a report in my instruction class ID, then the journal which I'm going to submit, they will still can detect it. But it's already in the Turnitin system.
Yes. But if you delete the class or delete the assignment from your account, you need to restore back the class or the assignment. Then you get the paper ID, you provide to the admin, then admin will request support to delete, to remove the paper from database.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Last question, please. If you have any question. Okay, I can see from the chat box. Apakah kesannya jika kita tidak remove those papers from institutions database? Okay, dia ada pro and cons lah. Okay, untuk kalau kita simpan dalam database. So, mana kata kalau junior paper copy senior punya paper kita boleh detect lah yang junior ni copy ataupun student ni dia copy daripada universiti lain ke daripada institution lain, kita boleh detect. Tapi kalau kita tak simpan dalam database, okay, so bila junior copy senior punya paper, consider original. Consider original, so dia tak ada matching. Consider original paper untuk junior. Maksudnya dia tak copy senior lah. Kita tak boleh detect lah yang tu actually senior punya paper tapi junior tu copy tapi tak boleh detect sebab kita letak no repository. Ni pro and cons untuk standard paper repository dengan no repository lah. Sebenarnya kalau tak remove dia tak ada kesan lah. Cuma kita boleh detect lah kalau junior copy senior. Okay, alright. So I think that's it for today. Okay, last but not least. In your account, okay, you can see the black bar and then you can see the help button here. Okay, you can see the help button. When you click on the help button, okay, you can see how to use Feedback Studio. You can see Turnitin websites. You just click on Turnitin website and then you can see the online guides and resources for Turnitin admin, for instructor and for the student. Okay, so you can go back, play around with it. If you have any problems, any issues, you can refer to the help center, the help button, or you can contact the sub admin for each schools or the master admin from library, or you can contact me directly. Okay, I will provide you with my contact details. Okay, all right, so thank you so much. Thank you for your kind attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a good day. Happy using Turnitin. Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.
Salam. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cik Maslan. Waalaikumsalam. Thank you.
Terima kasih.
Cik Maslan.